Okay.
And my cat, let me go on mute real quick. So,
all right, people, it is 10:38. It has taken us 38 long, grueling Zoom minutes to get up in here to have this webinar with y'all today. You have no idea. So my name is Nikki Martinez. I'm with Arthur Soriano. I'm with our brother Alan. We're going to have an amazing conversation today about resilience and talk about resilience. We have all exuded our resilience today in managing this technology. And as somebody that's formerly incarcerated, coming home, just trying to get the swoop, swap, and understanding of even trying to just get into a Zoom link and the challenges and the expectations that society has placed on us, and how, you know, those creating anxieties and wanting to make sure that it's done. But look at us, 40 minutes in, and we're resilient, and we're doing it, and we're here with the community, and we're trying to do everything we can to bring this information to the community. So thank you all for joining on this fine Tuesday. I want to start out with a powerful quote, and it's something that's very near and dear to me. Honoring Black History Month, definitely, for sure. I want to give a strong shout out to Andre Lorde. And one of her quotes is, "I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own." And the thing with that quote is, it's all over my Sister Warriors Freedom Coalition gear. I love them. Super big shout out to Sister Warriors Freedom Coalition up and down the state of California. They're doing massive work right now, and just big, big honor. So with that being said, we want to definitely honor Black History Month. We got a strong and resilient, powerful speaker today, Alan Ross, also known as ALPAL, who did 43 years while he was incarcerated, and it's an honor to have him here at Youth Empowerment. So I will pass it over to Arthur Soriano, who is the CEO of Youth Empowerment, making all of this magic happen. So thank you so much. Arthur?
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Alan, for being here today, being present. Both of you guys have a dynamic story from life to living. For myself, it was the other way around. I did time, long stretches, in and out, but just the dynamics of feeling, understanding what it is to have a life term under your belt, under your hat, under your living, under your situation is something that I can't put myself in them shoes. So very excited to hear from Alan. It's an ironic story where how we connected. My sister Rachel was washing her car, and she took my son and my daughter to go with them, right? And the kids were washing the car, and so while they're washing the car, out of the blues, here comes Alan and connects with Rachel, and tell her, "That's good what you're doing. You're modeling for these kids, but here's $5." Right? You also want to reward them for good behavior. So I found that dynamic. Rachel came into the office talking about, I found a BSCC mentor. He's a former lifer, all excited. And then we connected. Nikki, Alan, they know each other. So we're here today. We're here today. We're here present. We're building healthy communities. And we're just, with our reentry folks coming together, returning citizens, to do what we do to be effective and bring healing to our communities. So thank you, Alan, for being here present.
No problem. No problem for having me.
You're welcome. Take us a little bit on your journey, your history.
Well, I really have to be put up caution notes for little kids that might be in the audience, or, you know, that if they are watching the program by themselves, I would appreciate if they had an adult with them. So, you know, I'm not going to get to where it's going to be any too cruel for youngsters, but I need to know that, you know, we want to put up flags so people can understand some of the language. It started in Los Angeles, and I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I had a stepfather, a mother, you know, 6 kids living in the same home with us. It was really, really good. I went to John Adams Junior High School, to Jefferson High School. But along the way, at 6 years old, I was molested. And everybody wants to know how things get started, how people turn from God-given kids or God-fearing kids to wayward kids or runaways. Everybody has a story. There's always something negative in our lives that touches us. Everyone that I talk to in prison, I mentor many, many kids in prison, and I wanted to know how it started. They didn't understand why I was asking how it started. But everybody that's from 5 years old to 10 is affected in some way that changed the attitude. So my being molested at 6 years old, at 12 years old, I was at school and we was in a library and my buddy Bobby Williams was looking up words and we saw this word by chance, I don't know, a God-given child molestation. So we wanted to know what it was. And by reading it, we was like, man, that wasn't nothing. That's what me and Bobby say. But in me, people had been doing that to me. People had been touching me. So what had happened, I got angry. I didn't go to nobody because I was already embarrassed about the act within itself. And then between 6 and 12 years old, I was already promiscuous, just you're thinking that I knew what I was doing. I was still being molested by other people, female and men. And so at 12, I was like, that's it. I'm done. Nobody else is touching me. I don't want to have nothing to say. I don't want to hear nothing an adult have to say. All adults stay away from me. I was acting out. I was always in fights in school. So my mom was like, man, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I just couldn't tell her because of the shame of it. And so I turned 14 and my stepdad was whooping me and spanking me because I would pee bed. I would have these nightmares of what was happening with me and I would pee in the bed. Well, not me not able to talk to them and tell him what I was going through. He thought I was just ruining his mattresses. So he would lock me in the closet, not give me any food until I stopped peeing in the bed. Well, I got tired of that. At age 14, I ran away from home. I just was tired. Not nobody paying attention to me, nobody understanding that I've been a hurt child. So I ran away. I stayed in the streets from 14 to 18. I was living in abandoned homes. I was staying over cousins' house. Friends' mothers would take me in. And so my battery's about to roll, so I got to plug him up. And so anyway, make it really, really short, living in the streets and getting introduced to drugs and alcohol and different, girlfriends at 14 and 15. I was 15 years old, had a girlfriend that was 37, just giving you an idea of basically what mindset. I'm in the hood. I'm literally in the hood, living it every day with no supervision because I'm a runaway. And I started messing with the wrong crowd on the west side of Los Angeles. We were dealing drugs and an incident happened where someone robbed us and took something from us, and my boys and them and everybody that was associated with them, how they retaliate, where someone got killed. And I was driving the getaway car and I had a wreck in the getaway car. And so, when they catch me, who got the case? All right. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know when anybody was murdered because I never went into the house. Anyway, I kept my mouth shut, went inside the institution, stayed in prison for 43 years. And every time I would go to the board, they would say, Mr. Ross, we know there was other people involved in this crime. Are you ready to talk? And I'm like, man, I'm the only person sitting in here taking responsibility for this crime, right? I would not take responsibility for the murder, but I would take responsibility for being involved. And so, it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, you were there, you didn't tell on nobody, you didn't rat nobody off, you didn't go to the police and say this happened, just happened. And so I felt really, in the latter part of my years in incarceration, I felt more responsible than anybody else. The guy that actually did the killing was dead. He was approached several times on the street to get that case up off me and he wouldn't. And so he died. So I just kept going to the board, and they kept denying me. And sooner or later, I met this lady in Oakland, this Oakland lawyer that said, no, they can't keep badgering you like that. They got to be, it's on the merits of how you've been inside a prison. And so with that, all the stuff that I've done while I was incarcerated, the fighting, the stabbings, the wars, the drama, the riots, the encounters with corrections, and I, for some reason, always blamed it on myself. Every encounter, everything that I was involved in inside of prison, I blamed it on myself. And I got married in 1990 to Alicia Furlow in San Francisco. And she died 3 months after we got married. She died in a car accident coming to see me, and it killed her 1-year-old goddaughter. And I just had enough. And I needed to start doing what I had to do to get out of prison. I think it was God or Alicia was telling me, hey, you couldn't go to that funeral. My wife is being buried, and I'm sitting there talking to my friend Nylon Scott. His wife had went to my funeral, and we sitting there, and it just hit me. You know, you got to do better. You got to get away from all this prison drama, the prison politics, and I've always been my own self, my own man when I was in prison. You know, no one told me, didn't nobody give me orders. I did what I wanted to do. You know, it got me in a lot of trouble, you know, because I was on the non-affiliate tips, and the non-affiliate tip was non-existent because I'm from the east side of Los Angeles. So they don't care if you say you're not tipped up, but you're from Los Angeles, east side blood gang. You know where they from. Anyway, after going to the board all those years and doing all the stuff that I had to do, I finally drawed up these papers of every infraction that I had in prison, every 115 that I ever got, every 128. And what I wrote on the paper is, this is what I thought about that infraction then, and this is what I think about that infraction now. I wrote those, and I got busted with some marijuana. And then I said, man, I don't care, I got a life, I ain't never going home. That's how I felt about it. But then prison it's illegal. You're not supposed to have it in prison, you know. And then this is what I wrote. I was wrong. I know I should have never had it. I thought that I wasn't, you know, ever getting out of prison, which was wrong thought to have personally anyway. And so the commissioner saw this and said, have you ever seen anybody display responsibility like this of every 115? I mean, everything that I've got involved in there was on that paper or on another different sheet. And they went into deliberation, and I'm sitting there because I had been to the board 21 times. It already was just set in my soul that I was not going home. You know, no matter what good I did, I had got therapy. I got every group that they ever had from dealing with at-risk kids. They would bring hundreds of kids inside these institutions, and I would be the first one to raise my hand to speak to them and give a presentation. They got so that the churches was calling me to do my presentations in church just to talk to other inmates. And then I got into a group called No More Tears up in the Bay Area, where they bring the mothers of victims of crime, and we would talk to them, and they would want to know why this happened and why that happened, and how come my son had to die. And we would sit there and we have to tell them and give them our story, and then we explain to them, you know, why we think certain things happen. And so I'm sitting there and they're deliberating, and all these good accolades that I have built inside of prison, going through all the drama that I did, it kind of like overshadowed all the bad stuff I did. And you know what I mean? And then I got therapists behind me. I was going to therapists since 1995 because I wanted to know why I was so violent, why I was so angry. That's why I want to talk to these kids, because if I'd have caught myself a lot earlier and had the wayward to talk to somebody, then I think I could have missed a lot of that negativity that approached my life. But being that I didn't have anybody to say, hey, look, you need to talk to somebody, or somebody hurting you, or Mija, what's wrong with you? You know, no one ever did that with me. And so going through the therapy helped me get all of that stuff out. It's not about the group therapy or being on pills. It's about you sitting in a room, maybe with one therapist or a group of people that's pretty much been through the same thing you've been through, and then you're talking it out. People think that you're taking stuff in when you go into the therapist. No, you're talking and you're figuring out in your own head while you're talking why this might have happened. Anyway, going to the board, they came back with the deliberation, and the lady, Miss Mayor, was the commissioner. She just started talking. And at this time, we talk. And so I heard suitability, but in my head, I thought it was unsuitable. And so I leaned back in my chair and I'm like, okay, continue present program. Finna go back up in here if I got to do my time and not worry about it, because 21 times I'm already geared for that. So I look over at my lawyer and she's writing. I see at the top, suitable. And so I had to tap her. I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, what does that mean? And she said, oh, you didn't hear her? I said, hear what? And she said, excuse me, Commissioner, my client didn't hear you. And she said, oh, Mr. Ross, I am so sorry. These mics are so far away and I can't speak too loud. We find you suitable at this time. We think you've done extremely well. And I mean, she just started pouring on these accolades. And after hearing this, it registered. And I'm not a crier. And I mean, the waterworks just fell down. And this monkey that's been on my back for 43 years, maybe 50, was lifted. And within 150 days, I was a free man. But my incarceration does not stop. So, because once you out here, it has to continue. I'm still B77417 until I'm off parole. Now, 30 days out of prison, you're not allowed to work. So when that 30 days was up, I ran looking for a job. I don't care where it was, Mickey D's, but they had this job fair. And so I went to the job fair, and half of the guys in the center went to this way, constructions, half of them went to ship docking, the other went to artistry. I saw Chipotle. I said, Al, you were a cook in prison for 40 years. You work AM, PM, so let's try that. I went over there. There was 15 people in that place waiting in line. We went in and did our applications over the computer. And so we wait. People, person after person, went in there and came out. I was like, bro, you get the job? No. Hey, ¿qué pasó? You get the job? Nada. And I'm just like, okay, so 15 people, 14 people come out, a little Asian guy. I'm like, hey, what happened, man? No. I was like, okay. So the lady called me, named Angel. She was definitely an angel. She called me in and we sit down and she says, okay, Mr. Ross, tell me about yourself. Where did you work? She said, I see it's a separation here that you haven't worked in so long. And she said, can you explain that? And I said, well, ma'am, I told myself that I was going to come into these job interviews, bearing my soul and telling the truth. Whether I got the job or not, I'm going to tell my truth. And I said, the truth of the fact is I was incarcerated for 43 years. This little girl leaned back like I swung a samurai sword at her. She said, what? And then she started saying something in Spanish. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand none of that, what he said. And so she said for a minute, she got up and she went over there and there was a group of 3 white people, white men, standing over against the wall. I don't know who they are, CEOs, executives, I don't know, but I know they was connected with the Chipotle. She went over there and I kept doing this, looking over. And when the last time I looked over, they all were looking at me like this. And so first thing come to my mind after so many years of being denied in prison, first thing came to my mind, oh, yeah, they're not going to give it to you. So I sit there waiting for the young lady to come back. I'm still happy. I am not upset about anything. I am a free man and I don't have nothing to be mad about. And so she sit down, she said, Mr. Ross, give me a couple of examples of your leadership as far as being a lead man in the kitchen. And I said, well, I would tell her, I gave an example where this young guy was laying down scrambled eggs and he was doing it wrong. And I came over and I said, bro, let me show you the exact way to do this. It's easier for you, it's quicker, and the eggs come out looking a lot better. And so I showed it to him. The next day, the young brother was like, damn, they said my eggs was the best eggs they ever made, And so I gave her that example. And she said, well, Mr. Ross, she said, we're going to hire you on the spot. I'm like, excuse me? She said, you're hired. And I mean, it was just another confirmation of my positivity, of me not going into anything negative, to me bearing my soul. And then the work that I done to get to that point. I mean, all the therapy, all the drama, everything we go through in our life. You guys didn't say happy birthday. January the 16th, I just turned 65.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, I know I don't look it, I know.
No, you don't.
I know. Don't trip. I'll be all right. But look, that's the year's yard work. That's what we call it, yard work. Yeah. Anyway, I lost a lot, everybody. I laugh and I joke, but losing my wife in 1990, it took a chunk of my heart. And long away, if you can imagine, doing 43 years, you lose most of all your friends. I lost my mom to MS. My father died shortly after that. My little sister's been diagnosed with MS. My older brother passed away from it also. And my brother, that's a year and a day older than me, he's diagnosed and he's been having it for 5 years. He's a fighter, he raw strong. But then there was I went back to LA, you guys, to visit, and it broke my heart because I don't think I have maybe 2 friends left out of 30 friends that I left when I was, when I went to prison, excuse me. I only have but a couple of friends still left. Bobby Williams, the guy that was my ride and die partner, he passed away some natural causes. Roy Jean Thomas, a lot of friends that I had that I went to look for, with that joy. Yeah, I'm back, you guys, where y'all at? And they all gone. My street was different. My house, my mother's, the childhood home that I grew up with so many negative memories was bought by this beautiful Mexican family. They took the home and painted it all white with the white fences. And I'm looking at it and I can feel the memories. I can feel my mom just slap me in the back of the head when I was jumping off the banisters. And what I'm trying to say to everybody is we go through a journey in our lives. Some of us make it out mentally strong. Some of us make it out physically strong. But if you keep your faith in whatever God that you believe in, because that's what helped me survive. I kept faith in Christ. And when everybody else, they was trying to make me a Muslim in there, they was getting me to study Buddhism, every little religion in there, they was trying to get me to be in it. But I stuck fast to what my mother raised me as a Baptist. And I'm telling you guys, I kept the faith. Sometimes when my wife died, I questioned God. I was angry. That was my wife, you know what I mean? That was my heart, the first time I really consider saying I was in love. And it just got snatched away from me. But it made me stronger. I don't know how to explain that to you guys, but every darkness that I went through, it was like, I was like the Hulk. Okay, this arm a little bigger, this shoulder a little bigger. Okay, I can carry you on my back. So what I'm saying is that we go through these things in our lives, and some people can't get over the negativity. All them racist bastards, they dogged me, they kept me for 100 years. I got out with no anger of nobody. Not the police station, not the homies that didn't have my back. That's, not the sisters that was my girlfriends that didn't come see me. I came back, I'm happy. Hey, how you doing? Hey, you're not mad at me? I'm not mad at nobody. I'm a free man. What I got to be mad about? What I got to walk around angry about? I'm free. And so whether you spend 2 years, whether you spend 1 year, that's a 2 year or 1 year out of your life. Just unfortunate for me, it was 43. When I got out here, I was like, the cars was talking. I got too close to this car and it was like, you're too close to something that said, and I jumped and I'm looking for somebody inside the car. And I'm like, what the hell? Your damn cars are talking. Then I get the Google map and it's, okay, turn on. I'm like, oh my God, is that thing talking to you? And so if you get these what really got me was the colors and the scents. I went to the east side of Los Angeles to see if some of my Vato homies was still out there low riding. And as soon as I hit the block on 24th, I can smell that, that Mexican food I used to when we was kids. I used to go over Red's house. His mama used to make me menudo because I used to love it hotter than everybody else. And so she'd make me this hot menudo and everybody else sitting there crying with tears and I'm eating this menudo. And I'm like, hey, nothing is, what do you call this chili? And it was a habanero. I'm like, oh, not hot enough. And you know what I mean? So I went back to those places and all these people are gone. It's just like poof. And I have to say that God made me strong and had me survive for a reason. And what my reason is because I was in prison so long and I was dealing with at-risk kids that was coming in. I was dealing with at-risk inmates that was coming in, that kids that 18, 19. I have one kid came in prison when he was 15 years old and I refused to let him get in the gang. I went to several shot callers and say, this kid is not to be touched, period. Leave him alone. Don't put him in no gang. He went on to get his education in prison. He got out to go to San Francisco State. Now he's out here running nonprofits. And guess who we give thanks to? So I have the past. Now what I need is to help me with this future because I got out here and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to be honest. You can't tell me nothing about prison, but I can't tell you nothing about being a free man. I'm learning as we go. And so there's more to my story, and I know we don't have enough time, But what I really wanted, the message that I really want to convey to everybody, especially the little kids, if you have someone that you're being bullied, or you have someone that's touching you inappropriately, or you have someone that's just ignoring you in your home, just reach out to someone. I mean, just everybody, you kids listen to me. Everybody has one person on this earth that you can go talk to. One person that let them know that you're being harmed or you're being hurt or you've been ignored at home. You know, we get so caught up, families of parents, we get so caught up in our little daily routines that the little kids walk right by us and we don't stop and say, hey, mijo, come here, mija, how was your day at school? We so busy. And then the kids walking by and we don't know what happened, what kind of day they were. So we have to be more attentive to what they look like when they come through that door, instead of just go wash your hands and get ready for eat. I need you to sit down in front of me and tell me how your day went. You know, so I want to do whatever I can. It's in my fiber, in my soul, to save a life. Because they got people that's out here saying prison is, you can do this, you can survive it. I'm gonna sit here and tell you, I was sitting in a 5x10 cell crying to my mama, then stepping out on the yard, being this tough, hard guy, when I really know I was just a scary little boy. So you have people that you can reach out to. I applaud that you go and talk to those people, counselors, preachers, friends, brothers. I need you guys to go talk to somebody, whatever it is you're going through. There's somebody that's always going to help you. And then I'll talk to you guys about it more. I'm sure they're going to have me back.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. And I just get emotional just like hearing your story. And, you know, you found a family in us.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You definitely found a family in us. I appreciate your words, your advice to the little kids, the therapy. You know, I have my first therapy session probably in 2 weeks, and
Yes.
I'm 44 years old, right? So yeah,
Yes.
so getting that encouragement from my people, my folks that have been there, have went through the process of therapy, how it works. Because we have a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder from everything that we've experienced, different types of traumas. And we could go on with all the different traumas that we've been out affected. But at the end of the day, your story is a primary example of what resilience is, not holding no grudges, no feelings, just coming out here, being excited, your enthusiasm. It's that energy. I could feel it throughout the whole webinar. So I definitely appreciate you and everything that you're doing now. What are you currently doing right now? Where are you working at?
Okay, well, that's why I was saying I didn't have enough to finish, but I got the job at Chipotle, and I stayed there for 8 months. And what happened was it just hit rock bottom. But I didn't give up. I mean, when I first came home and I first got the job, I took 2 buses from from Spring Valley to San Diego University just to get to work. And this meant that I had to be up by 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm walking in the dark. When I first came home, the first day I tried to walk down the street at night, the streets closed in on me because it was just so scary and so unfamiliar. And the first time I got on a bus, I was afraid because I didn't know, on the yards, where, that's the Crip area, that's the Blood area, that's the SA's area, that's the Northerners area. You know where everybody is. In society, everybody's everywhere. And pretty much nobody paying you no mind. But you thinking in your head because you're newly released, you thinking that everybody's tripping on you. Like, real short story. I was getting on the bus and I was sitting up front.
I lost him.
And this SA guy get on the bus. And he stops and he looks my way and he looks behind me. And first thing I did was tense up. He got tattoos on his face and his neck, and he looking like a Vato Loco. And I'm like, okay, here we go, Big Al, because he's focused in on me. You know, when he looked, he focused in on me, and I'm like, okay, so I turned my body language in a defensive manner, and I'm like, okay, whatever he's finna do on this bus, he ain't finna do it to me. And I did something that I told myself that I would not do, which is get out here and judge other people. And I got right out here and I judged this man. He turned around, and before he got ready to come back on the bus, because I see him turn around, lean down, and I'm already like, whatever you're gonna do, I'm ready for it. This man picked up two of the beautiful little Mexican women, little kids that I've ever seen in my life. One had long black hair, the other one had a blondish hair, and I looked at him and he looked at me and he gave me that knowingly nod that we give each other from the hood. You know, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I felt so bad and so guilty that I had to go to a church and get on my ask for forgiveness for having that thought. Because I mean, literally, I went to church and I got on my knees. Matter of fact, it was a non-English church that I went to. They were in there having church and speaking in Spanish. And I went and sat up front. I gave them $80 out of my pocket. I put it in a little pot and I sit there. And I asked God to forgive me for judging that guy. You know, he had two of the most beautifulest babies. And so what I'm saying is that what you said about getting help, I want you to go into this therapy with an open mind, because there's a myth in the Black and brown community that we don't talk to psychologists or psychiatrists. They're going to put you on medication and you're going to be all brain dead and you're going to be a zombie. You're going to act like you're on Skittles. What I say to you is that you do not, and I repeat, you do not have to be put on medication to see a therapist. You can go to therapists to talk. You can go to therapy to figure things out in your head. And if the doctors so choose to think that you need to be on an antidepressants or whatever, then you'll discuss it. He ain't gonna just, here, you need to be on these. So it's a myth, and I want to try to pass that myth that is just that to the Black and brown community, to any community. White, it doesn't matter. Anybody that have reservations of seeing a therapist about your life, about your past, about your future, I want you to stop it now. It stops today. You go get the help you need. Now, you don't have to go to a paid psychologist. You can go talk to grandma. You can go talk to grandma. You can talk to OG Do-Good. You heard what I'm saying? You heard what I'm saying? You can go talk to positive people, role models in your community, and they will sit you in the right direction to get the help you need. But do not shunt going to therapy. That is one of the coldest myths inside of the Black community. All right?
Yes, no, thank you, Alan. And I'm gonna pass it on to Vicky for some words, and she could do her checkout.
Yep.
All
No.
right, cool.
Well, first of all, welcome home, brother. For
Yeah.
real. Definitely,
real.
you wear freedom like nobody's business. You have definitely blessed this free world beyond even everybody's comprehension. Thank God that you're home. Thank God that you're blessing this universe with your amazing, beautiful life. With you have
Yes.
such a genuine soul, and I already know just by the way that Rachel met you, the way that Arthur met you, like, you know, you're constantly in the community just depositing good stuff into every interaction that you're having, you know, just everything that you're doing. I know where you're working, you're giving, helping our folks that are returning home, being a mentor for them. Your mentorship is priceless. It's invaluable. Your existence out here in this world is something that nobody could ever put a price on, because it's so stellar. You're an amazing, outstanding citizen and a gift to this community, a gift to this free world. And I'm just so happy that you're home. I'm so happy that they freed you finally after all of them years of just, I won't even get into the treatment and just the discourse of all of that, but it like you said, you know, you have allowed it to transition you into the most amazing human being breathing. And so thank you so much for being a part of this community. Thank you so much for coming home with so much humility and so much gratitude, and just depositing that and exhibiting that every single day. You're leading by example, by people that don't even know you, with every interaction that you have. And so you're a gift to this world. And just thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and you don't even know you're doing it. That's the most amazing gift, right? You don't even
Hey,
know you're doing it. You're like, you're welcome, world. I showed up, and you don't even know you're doing it. You're like,
hey,
I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna slap this world with some greatness. You're
for real,
welcome, world. Yes.
keep it
Look at his
real.
name tag.
Hey, but look, I forgot to say something, you guys, and this is kind of like, and I know you got to close, Nick, but this is really important. And so I had aspiration to keep moving forward through my life. Working at Chipotle was a great thing. It helped me and it taught me about management. And then this is how God worked. God said, we're going to have you move up a little bit better. I'm going to get you a job as resident manager at BVSD.
That's
It just shows, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, it just shows if you be a good person, if you do the right thing in your life and you keep whatever God, I don't care what God you believe in, if you keep that God first, you can do anything you want. You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to steal cars. You don't have to harm anybody in your community. People will help you get a better job, get a better life, get a better home. You just have to be positive. And with that, I'm gonna let Nikki go. But I work for VVSD. You better understand that I'm a resident manager. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
And you be managing with the best managerial skills for
Yes,
sure.
I got the best.
Yes, for sure. Well,
Y'all got me crying now.
no, that's good. And that's what it's all about, being honest, being raw, being vulnerable, allowing ourselves to be true to ourselves, and no matter what that looks like, right? And we done wore masks for so many years, we perpetrated for so long, we were strong and dying on the inside, and now we have an opportunity to just be our true selves, be genuine with our emotions, allow ourselves to feel and not be ashamed of how we feel, right? Because shame leads to devastation.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, shame is haters, and people that hate, during all those years, you're gonna amass a lot of people that love you, and you're gonna amass a lot of people that hate you. I wore so many different masks inside prisons. You have to, because people can't get that close to you, because you can't anyone. But haters, they got this comedian, I think his name is Cat Williams. He said something that got me one time. He said, well, if you got haters, if you got 10 haters, you need to get 10 more. Because that's what they supposed to do. That's their job, is to hate. So I'm not gonna hate on you haters. Get y'all money, boo. This fool had rolling. But it's
and it was Cat Williams too. Yes, he is hilarious.
It's so true. I had so many haters inside the institutions because I was able, and I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't do no snitching, but what I allow myself to do is get close to some COs that can get things done. If I had some youngsters in there and they was having problems over here, I had somebody to go talk to, say, man, can you move the homie from out of that cell and move him over here? So so people perceive that as snitching. I don't care about it. I got out of there unscathed. If people was in there hating on me, why they didn't do nothing to me? You know why? Because Alan was doing what Alan was supposed to do. Alan used God-given gifts to make sure that I had to do, first of all, make sure that I survived prison. So you guys that got haters, just say, hey, go get 10 more of your friends and come on back. My name Cat Williams.
Yes. All right. Dope, man. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Again, like I said, this was the ultimate challenge to try and get on here with the Zoom. We're still getting familiar with technology.
Yeah.
So everybody that's formerly incarcerated, we send you love, definitely.
Yeah.
For the people that are supporting us, for all of the different agencies and communities that are looking out for us, that are looking for transformation, that we love that. We respect that. We welcome that, definitely. And with that, I will pass it on to Arthur so he can go ahead and close us out.
All right, young.
One word checkout. Just one word of what you feel about today. And we're gonna start with Alan.
One word.
One word.
I gotta bounce on you, man. Resilience.
Okay. Nikki
Gratitude.
and me, peaceful. After today's conversation, I feel peaceful.
Thank
So,
you, brother.
yeah, thank you, everybody. Much love. We will be connecting next week.